yoga on this rather cool and blowy Wednesday. If you've been out there, it's chilly. And I don't know about anybody else, but when it's cold, when it's chilly, very often I can feel my back and my shoulders get quite tense, battling against those easterly winds with the chill factor well below 4 or 5. And unfortunately, today looks like it's going to be another one of those days. But if you are going out, if you're doing any gardening, if you're going to be walking or cycling, the main thing is we often embrace a lot of tension into our backs. It's like body armour and it gets thicker and thicker, and unfortunately more and more layers get into that tension. So it can often give you rounded shoulders, stiff neck, tight shoulders and an aching back. So today's practice is going to be taking care of your back, okay? It's nice, it's poses that help to align your spine, but also help to align not just the spine but the pelvis, and help to loosen up tension in your back, in your chest and in your hips, because all of them are interconnected like a jigsaw. So it's not going to just align the spine, it's going to help loosen chest, pelvic region, hips, and a little bit of loosening up the back as well. Now all you'll need today is a strap. Now before you panic and say, but I don't have a yoga strap, that's fine, because I'd like you to go and get anything you can. It can be an old scarf, it can be a tie. What's quite good is the sort of soft belt from a dressing gown, okay? If you've got a dressing gown with a belt, and very often they come with belts, a soft, fluffy, long, they're often longer than a belt as well, dressing gown belt will do absolutely fine. Or as I say, an old scarf or tie. If you've got a yoga belt like this, go and grab it now. And also grab a block or cushion, a cushion from the sofa, or a yoga block if you've got one. So just a cushion today, and a yoga strap. So while I tell you about the benefits of this class, you can just go off and get those if you haven't done. Remember, an old tie or a scarf will do if you don't have a yoga belt, or the dressing gown belt, which I've found recently is a really good way of substituting a yoga belt. So this helps to support good posture from top to toe. It's also strengthening for our legs. Those are some of the additional benefits. And what we're going to be doing is aligning the spine, helping with the pelvis, loosening up tension in your back. Ultimately, that helps to open the chest and loosen the hips. So lots of lovely upper body work, but legs as well. And what we're going to do is start by lying down in what we call reclining hand to foot pose. So very gently, if you're sitting, we are now going to lie down. So grab your straps if you've gone to get them. And I think what we'll do is we'll just pretty much do the first few poses on each side for about 5 deep breaths. So this is about taking care of your back today. We're going to lie down, and I want you to either straighten out the left leg if you can, but if that's too much, keep the left knee bent, okay? So left leg can be straight or the knee can be bent, whichever feels more comfortable for you. We're going to rest our head on our mat or where we're lying, tuck the chin in, and just hug that right knee into the chest. Now that allows us to put that strap, belt or scarf around the back of the right foot, just below the toes, and then we can start to straighten the leg. So if you've got a belt or a strap or a scarf, have it about equal length on both sides, yogis, and just take the leg to as much as you can straightening it. Don't force it. If it's bent like this, don't worry. What we want to do is gradually hold on to both sides of our strap or belt and just take 5 deep breaths. Remember, the left knee can be bent, or for a deeper stretch, start to straighten it on the floor now. With both feet, I want you to flex the toes towards you. That encourages a deeper stretch here in the hamstring, which is the area we're working. And let's take 4 more deep breaths here. Remember, bend that knee, that left knee, if you want a gentle stretch, maybe perhaps more supportive for your spine here as well, or straighten the leg for a deeper stretch. All of the toes flex towards you, and take 3 deep breaths, breathing in, breathing out. And again, just going gently into this stretch. It's very, very deep. If your hamstrings are tight, take great care. It's a lovely stretch, but take care. Don't go too deeply. Bend and keep the knee bent if you need to. I'm going to hang out here for 1 more deep breath in and out. Good. Then I'm going to bend the knee take away the strap and just hug that knee in for a moment and carefully release down. Now we're going to switch sides, so let's bend both knees again. This time gently hugging the left knee into the chest. We'll take that strap or belt or scarf around the ball of the left foot now. Start to gently straighten it. Feel your way into the left side. The left leg may feel quite different. And then if you wish to, starting to straighten that right leg. So flexing all of the toes towards you. And we're going to hang out here again for up to 5 deep breaths. Again, don't worry if this leg isn't straight. Keep the knee bent if you need to. And remember, if straightening the right leg is too strong today, then just keep that right knee bent, yogis. Your aim is to guide the breath into these tight spots, the back of the leg. Chin tucked in, relax the elbows, and just gently, very gently pulling on your scarf, your strap or belt, whatever you're using, and enjoy the stretch. What we are noticing perhaps here is one leg may feel physically tighter than the other, and that again, yogis, is completely normal. So just observing that difference in the left and right side of your body as you breathe. Chin tucked in. Even when we're lying down, we can think that the chin wants to be tucked in, keeping the neck in this lovely long line, because what we're doing here is also just enhancing our awareness of good posture from top to toe, even when we're lying down. One more deep breath in and out. And we're going to bend the knee. We're going to carefully release the strap and just take a moment to hug that knee in. And then carefully release. Now let your heels flop out, yogis. Let your arms be by your sides. Just take a few deep breaths here. Observe any physical sensations. Often the legs can feel slightly longer or warmer. So just take a deep breath in and out for me. And observe any sensations, physical sensations in your legs, having stretched them deeply. Breathe in. Breathing out. Good, okay, now we're going to stay here. We're going back to bending both legs. And mindfully, let's just bring the right knee in. Wrap the strap or belt or scarf around the ball of the right foot again. Raise it towards the ceiling carefully. And just adjust it so it's comfortable. Straighten that left leg. And what we're going to now do is take hold of the strap in the left hand and guide the right leg across to the left. But we don't want to go too far because we want to make sure that both shoulder blades are firmly in contact with the floor. And we also want to make sure that left leg is straight on the floor. Now with our right hand, our palm facing down, pressing into the floor, that adds stability to the pose. And just bringing that right leg across, doesn't have to be far. Flex the toes towards you. This is a beautiful stretch, a strong stretch, but again, we've got the support of the floor and the strap. So right leg coming across to the left, almost like an open pair of scissors, yogis, that left leg straight on the floor. 3 more full breaths. Now what's nice about these poses is they can be done at your pace and to your limits, and not pushing, not straining. Because this is a mindful practice, we take time over the poses. We've got about 15, 20 poses today, but we're going to do them mindfully at a pace that suits you. Take a deep breath in and out here. Now slowly start to bring that right leg all the way up again. Bend the knee, release your strap, and again, I just want you to hug that knee in for a moment. Allow yourself a deep breath in and out to restore the leg, relax it really as well, and then let it go. Carefully back down to the floor. Let the heel of the right foot flop out as well, and just notice for a moment whether any physical sensations feel different on the right to the left. Notice if the right hip feels like a little bit more open, softer. But if it doesn't, don't worry. Just again, observing those sensations, we get skillful at becoming more sensitive to those awareness and those differences. And we're going to do the left side now, so let's bend both knees again. Draw the left knee into the chest, wrap the strap around the ball of, this time the left leg. I'm going to straighten the leg, and I'm just moving across my living room so I've got room to move the leg. And if you want to, I'd like you now to straighten the right leg slowly along the floor. And of course the left leg may feel different, so let's give it a moment. Left palm down, we press it, anchor it into the floor. That adds almost like a firm anchor to the pose. And then you're going to very gently start to lower the left leg across to the right, aiming to keep both shoulders in contact with the floor, so it really doesn't matter how far you come. Chin tucked in, we're gazing towards the ceiling. Right leg is straight. Do hold on to that strap with care. And I know that the left shoulder definitely wants to come off the floor, doesn't it? But keep pressing it firmly into the floor. And just notice if you can come over, if you can naturally swing one leg further over to the side than the other. Aim for 2 more deep breaths, yogis. This is excellent as well for digestive health. You're squeezing all of the intestinal tract from one side to the other. So really, really good for digestive health, these poses, these twists. 1 more full breath in and out. Carefully guide the leg up. That's it, no rush, all the way. And bend the knee carefully. Release your strap. And again, just take a breath in and out. Hug that knee in. Carefully release the leg. Let both heels flop. Palms facing the ceiling. And again, explore your pelvic region. Explore the sensations in the pelvic region and the legs. Perhaps now, maybe, noticing how the heels naturally fall out more easily. We've opened our hips and our legs, of course, so perhaps noticing the sensations in those areas. Good, okay. And don't worry if you don't feel these things. Just an observation, just awareness to these areas. Okay, I'm going to slide back on my mat. And we're now going to do, we've sort of opened up very deeply there, haven't we? We're now going to do 1 more pose that requires a little opening. So we go back to the right side. So when you're ready, bend the right knee, raise the right leg, the strap again around the ball of the right foot. And again, make sure you've got plenty of room. Straighten the left leg slowly. Palm of the left hand pressing into the floor. And as you hold on to the strap with your right hand, you're going to start to open up into the right. Can you see I'm taking my right leg out to the side? Flex the toes of the right foot towards you. I'd like you to make sure, again, you've tucked your chin in, softly gazing towards the ceiling so back of the neck is in line with the spine. And just take that right leg out as far as you can to the right. Again, anchor down the left side. Now we're exploring the inner right ankle, the inner right thigh, all opening into that often disregarded or, undiscovered area, the inner groin and thigh on the right side. Now I want you to hold for 2 more deep breaths if you can. If you feel you've gone too far, just guide the right leg, just bring it in a little bit so that the stretch is comfortable. Again, focus on those tight spots. I'd like you to hold for another deep breath in. A full breath out if that's comfortable. Slowly, slowly, let's guide the right leg in. Let's bend the knee, take the strap off and just hug in again. And carefully release. Let that right heel fall out. Take a moment to explore that. Maybe it feels warmer, perhaps more space in the right hip. And we're going to do the left. So, bend both knees and then just pull very gently, guide the left thigh into the chest. And I know this takes a little bit of time, so just gently wrap the strap or whatever you're using, scarf or tie, around the ball of the left foot, straighten the leg, and just, again, give yourself a moment there to establish that. You're going to take the right hand, press it into the floor, away from your body, on the floor on the right side, and start to straighten the right leg. Then we'll take a deep breath in together and flex all of the toes, and slowly open the left side. Now again, our aim is to keep both of our shoulder blades down into the floor. Now, again, don't go too deep into this. It's a strong stretch for your inner thigh and your inner groin, so only taking that left leg out and open as far as you comfortably can. Chin tucked in. Aim for 3 breaths if you can. And just notice whether left and right again feel physically different, yogis, as you breathe, as you stretch. We're going to inhale and come in now. That's it, draw the leg in, bend the knee, release the strap, and just again, just a little kind hug into the left before you release the leg carefully down. Let both heels flop, that's it. And just zigzag the toes and feet in. Notice if it feels more spacious, perhaps warmer. You've created space in the pelvic and hip region, and that's going to untie the knots and the tension in the chest, the spine, and the upper shoulders. Remember, it's like a jigsaw, yogis. But just now, notice if the hips and pelvic region feel more open and energized. And let's take a deep breath in as we enjoy those feelings, those sensations. And a deep breath out. Explore the space you've created in your pelvic and hip region. And if you don't feel that, that's fine. Still take pleasure in a deep breath in and deep breath out. Well done, yogis. Now the last of the poses is the one that we've been using really throughout this leg work, and that's we're going to hug the right knee into the chest, and if comfortable, interlace the fingers just underneath the right knee, flex the toes of the left foot and the right towards you, left leg ideally straight, but if you can't, keep that left knee bent for a gentler stretch. And we're going to hold this, we're going to hug the knee in. 4 deep breaths here, yogis. Chin tucked in, think about the body in a lovely long line on the mat, on the floor. And just breathe into the stretch as best you can. Breathing in. Breathing out. Inhale. Exhale fully. Now if you can, hold for another deep breath in and out. Aim to relax the shoulders as well if you can. And carefully release the leg down. Again, let the heel flop if you can. Let both heels flop. And again, just study. Just observe the sensations in the right side. Notice if it feels warmer or more spacious in that right hip. And when you're ready, let's bend the left knee. Interlace the fingers just below the left knee. Tuck the chin in again and flex the toes of all the feet. So right and left toes flex towards you, but with your right foot and ankle, just imagine pushing that against a wall with the right heel to activate the stretch in both legs. And as you hug the knee in, just notice, yogis, perhaps you can draw one knee in further than the other. And that again is quite common. So as you hug the left knee in now, just notice if it's easier to do so, or is it more challenging on this side? Again, enjoy 2 more deep breaths here. Take your time. What we're doing is we're dismantling the tightness, the stress, the often hardness in the pelvic region that then manifests as, pain and discomfort in lower spine, in the chest, in the hips and pelvic region. So we're actually compartmentalising these parts, really nourishing them with deep stretching, and then hopefully they're going to feel softer, looser, and more supple. Well, let's exhale and release the leg down now. Again, I want you to deliberately let the heels flop and roll them in and out several times, noticing again how the left and right pelvic region feel. Hopefully a little softer, warmer, as if you've created space in these areas. And if you hold tightness there and you've done these exercises, you may notice a lot more soft space here. I do hope that feels a bit easier, and you can tell me later if it does. Okay, yogis, that's enough in that region for now. Again, we're going to bend the knees, hug the knees in, and just rock now to a softness really, just to identifying that low back needs to be nourished now. So just rocking gently as you draw the knees into the chest. Take a couple of deep breaths here. Breathe in, breathe out. Lovely. Now, whilst we're here, I want you to raise the feet up. Flex the toes, so toes towards you. Push the heels, almost like you want to Velcro the soles of the feet to the ceiling. And bring the arms up as well. Make 2 loose fists. And just whilst we're here, let's untie the knots in the joints of wrists and ankles. So we're going to do 10 little rotations in one direction with wrists and ankles. This is freeing the tension equally in these areas. And 10 slowly in the opposite direction. And that's just a great way to open and energize those joints. And then open and stretch fingers. See if you can do the same with the toes. Release. Stretch the toes and fingers. Do that 3 more times. That's it. So the digits of fingers, toes, wrists and ankles have also been opened and energized. We haven't forgotten about them. Hug those knees in again. Let's go straight into the spine. And very gently, hands on top of the knees, start to draw some circles. This is another nourishing way to soften low back pain. So if you've done a lot of sitting today, you haven't been out yet, but the low back has been a little bit, sore at times. Again, see this as massaging the internal organs, but giving your spine a big hug. Should we do some circles now in the opposite direction? Keep the knees low and together. That's it, just little circles. Nourishing and massaging your low back. Lovely. Take a deep breath in, deep breath out, and then just roll onto one side and come up. Hello again. So all of that work really, I guess, it's just really analysing the pelvic region and just taking our awareness to the hips and legs and the pelvis, trying to untie some of the tightness. So we're now going to move straight into the back. Those last 2 poses were nice because they massage the back. And we're going to do our famous cat-cow, okay? We're going to do cat-cow, which is such a great way to stretch. So you won't need your straps until later, if at all. So put them to one side. Come on to all fours, and now turn your attention to the back surface of your body, your spine. Take a moment, again, to come onto the hands and knees, and keep your wrists, yogis, underneath your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips. And very gently, we're going to inhale and gently drop the lower belly. We lift the sitting bones, the sternum and chest. And as we exhale, we round the back and gaze towards the navel. Inhale again, drop the lower back, lift the sitting bones, sternum and chest. And as we exhale, again, making this C shape, chin to chest and drawing the navel in. We're going to do 8 more rounds because what this does, it gently stretches and increases the circulation to all your back muscles. Do 4 or 5 more rounds slowly. Okay. The aim is to gently stretch and improve the circulation, remember, to our back muscles. The arms straight.
I've tucked my toes under, but you can have the feet flat if you prefer.
Inhale, lower belly dropping, lift the sternum and chest. And then as you exhale, round the back, gazing towards the navel and pulling those tummy muscles in softly if you wish to. Let's do one more slow round. Inhale, drop belly, lift chest. Exhale, round spine, gaze towards navel. Let's do one more yogis if you can. Such a fantastic way to increase the circulation in your back muscles, again removing stiffness and tightness. And then sit back. Now there's a lot of loading there in the wrists, so just shake it out, that's it. Free the wrist joints for a moment, shake it out, give them a relax, a little rest there, open and close the fingers. And we're now going to move into downward dog. Again, if you find this pose tricky, only stay for a few deep breaths. This is a mindful practice, remember. So it's about doing what feels comfortable and appropriate for your body. So we're going to tuck our toes down, we come back into that cat-cow pose really. And if you feel the tightness here, yogis, in the backs of the legs, then do keep the knees bent, okay? Try to make your spine as long as possible if you can by pressing into the pads of the palms. We use our palms, reaching through our arms and lengthening the sides of our body today, okay? And we keep our ears in alignment with our upper elbows, and inner elbows rather, and gaze towards your upper thighs, all right? So let's go. Inhale, come up. Remember to keep the knees bent if there's tightness in the back of the legs. Arms are strong. Feet are hip width apart. And if your knees are bent, why not practice with me some walking of the dog? So we pad one heel back and towards the floor as we inhale, padding the opposite heel back and down as we exhale. Gaze towards the upper thighs, and if you can, try and keep the sides of the body long. Let's take 5 deep breaths if comfortable. Good. Now, if you've come down already, take a little pause. If it's comfortable, one more deep breath in and out, but don't force that, yogis. Here we go. Inhale and exhale. Good. We come down and rest. Sit back on our heels if we can. And once more, shake it out. Make those little rotations again. Again, just untie the knots, particularly if you found that very heavy on the wrist joints and the arms. And let's face it, gravity's already pulling us down, and that pose amplifies that. So many times people find it strong. That's not to say don't do it, but just maybe do a couple of deep breaths and then come down. Then you can always try it again, but don't strain the wrists or arms. Now what we're going to now do is come into a back bend. Remember, this is taking care of your back, so loosening the back, loosening the chest and pelvic region, as well as just the spine. They're all connected. So join me now, coming down into what we call the locust pose. So we come down onto the front of the body. So we lower the belly down. We bring the arms alongside, and we want to lengthen our tailbone towards the heels. We can do that by sort of pulling the navel back. We're going to inhale, bring the arms along with the palms facing in. And what I'm going to do is lift my arms, my legs, and my head off the floor. Thumbs are pointing down, and the toes reaching towards the wall behind me. Squeezing my inner thighs towards each other. That helps to engage my inner thighs. And staying here for 3 or 4 breaths. One can look down or along the floor ahead of the body. It's not about how high you come up, but having a go. Nice deep breath work here, yogis. Switch that on. Use those deep, fluid breaths so you move from pose to pose with lovely deep fluid breath. Exhale, come down when you need to, and just for a moment, make a pillow with your hands, rest your forehead, turn your big toes out, and if it's comfortable, just rocking the pelvic region here. Slowly, perhaps noticing if the tailbone feels that little bit looser. It may be too early yet because we're going to do the pose, repeat that twice more if comfortable. Of course, you can skip this pose if you wish to. So take a deep breath in and out again as you rest. Excellent. Let's come up again. We're going to repeat that a few more times if we can. So arms like mine by the sides of the body, roll the shoulders back and away from the ears. Remember, what we want to do here is bring the arms resting along the side, but open the fingers, raise the legs, the chest, and look along the floor. Hold for 3 breaths. Imagine those toes reaching towards the wall behind you, lifting up and breathing lovely, deep, slow breath. This helps to strengthen, energize, and align the spine. It is strong on the pelvic, you can probably feel this on your pelvic region and pressing into the pubic bone as well. So again, just one more deep breath. Use those lovely deep fluid breaths and exhale so you don't strain. Again, make a little pillow, big toes touching, and just rock the pelvic region, just softly, like I'm doing, showing you now, from side to side. Easing out what is a bony part of the body, and particularly when we're pressing down, can feel quite strong. That's it. Aim for another deep breath in and out as you rest, yogis. Marvellous. Now we're going to repeat that once more. Of course, you don't have to do it if you don't want to. But again, what we're doing is just bite-sized chunks, going gently into the pose and then repeating it slowly. So if your spine feels it can, bring the arms to the side, open the fingers. Inhale, raise the legs, keep them together. Again, point the toes down towards the floor, push them away and lift up 3 breaths. That's it. Think about how our intention here is abundance of breath and energy into the body. These are beginner poses, and again, great for supporting good posture and back work from head to toe. We're aligning the spine and pelvis. We're loosening up tension in our back, chest, and hips today. One more deep breath in, exhale, release. Now I want you to push up gently and just sit back for a moment. Let's bring the hands to the heart center. And just take a few deep breaths and give thanks. Thanks for all your body enables you to do every time you roll your mat out, whether that's chair yoga, Pilates, or this type of yoga. Just a moment to thank the body for all it enables us to do. And let's use this time just to focus on the breath, taking 3 slow breaths. The practice is mindful, and therefore our intention is abundance, and we give thanks to this body in a mindful approach. Just a moment to pause and breathe. And perhaps noticing any physical sensations or thoughts as you breathe. Well done, yogis. Just a moment to again bring ourselves back to the breath, and a moment also to appreciate those sacred moments. Well, we're going to move now into a hip opener, and you can, of course, and I'll show you, grab a blanket or a cushion now just to place under the hip that you're going to open. So I've got a blanket, and I've pretty much folded it into a thick square. And I'm going to have that in front of my right side because it's very gently. I'm going to take my right leg back and then place that underneath. Now you might want a thicker sort of cushion, something underneath the right hip, but it's a way of keeping your hips squared. And I tuck the toes under the right foot, the left knee is in front, fingers in alignment with it, so I've made tripod fingers, and this is where we get the lift in the chest. So I've grounded alongside my hips, and my hips are level, hopefully. Again, cushion underneath the right hip if you need it. And we reach the tailbone down here, lift the chest and look along the floor. I want to drop the shoulders and just get a little lift in my chest. Hold for 3 breaths. So this is known as a one-legged king pigeon pose, opening into my hip, so I can feel that opening in the hip. But as I try and sit tall, and I do that by pushing the fingers into the floor, they help to keep my spine slightly lifted, looking softly ahead, rolling the shoulders back. I can feel the opening in the chest as well as hip region, and pelvis as well, softening. Not too long here, it can be very deep, so pad up underneath the exposed hip as much as you need to. We're going to release now. So hands in front, remove that cushion and return to our hands and knees. I'm going to switch sides, so show you that on the other side now. So this time my pillow or cushion, blanket underneath the left hip. So my right leg comes forwards, left leg back, and I tuck the toes under, and I scoop my blanket or pillow underneath the left hip. And this again helps to keep my hips squared and level. Fingers in line with the right knee, tucking the toe under of the left foot, and again getting the lift, a little lift as I look forwards. Roll the shoulders back, soft elbows. Take as many breaths here as you comfortably can. Today we'll simply do 3 breaths on each side. A little longer there though if it's comfortable. And just notice yogis in your own body, whether left and right feel physically different. Very often we can feel that. Very often we may notice one hip more open than the other. Breathe and hold. Well done, that's excellent. Okay, so hands go forwards. We carefully remove our blanket and return to hands and knees. And really, pretty much, it was quite nice after that, is to just stretch the legs out, sit back in straight arms, and again, zigzag the feet in, just relax the legs. And do grab some water now, yogis, if you need to. Remember, staying hydrated is key throughout any movement, whether it's yoga, Pilates, running, or just simply stretching like we are today mindfully. Have a little sip of water and we'll move on. Okay, we're now going to do a nice juicy twist for the spine. If you can, stay on your mat, just peel away the flesh from the buttocks and extend the legs out fully. And this again is a way of squeezing out any tension and tightness in your back. Again, a little bit like the cat-cow, it improves the circulation to the back muscles, so it sends a fresh supply of blood and energy to the spinal muscles, okay? So look at it as, again, giving yourself a big hug from a spinal point of view, but also squeezing out any unspent tension, okay? So a juicy twist. We're going to bend the right knee and bring the heel close to the left buttock. And that means we can just stretch that left arm forwards. It's going to wrap around the outside of the bent right knee, and our left hand goes behind us. And then we can draw that hand in slightly, that's the right hand, but turn the wrist away, so turning it out slightly. That helps to open that right shoulder. I'm going to flex the toes of the left foot towards me, lengthen up by looking forward, sitting tall, and then as I exhale, looking somewhere over my right shoulder. For 4 breaths, we're going to hold a little bit longer here. So again, try not to lean into the right hand. Use it to help keep the spine tall as you gently twist. Focus on your breath. And don't worry if you can't twist very far on this side. Very often, again, left and right differences are evident, particularly in twist poses. Nice deep breaths, looking somewhere over the right shoulder if you can. I'm going to hold for another deep breath in, deep breath out. And then we'll inhale again together. And we're going to use that exhale to slowly unfurl back to the centre and relax. And we're going to release the leg and switch sides. So that you can see that more clearly, I'll turn. This time we're going to bend the left knee. Again, bring the heel as close as you comfortably can to your left buttock. Right leg is straight, we flex the toes. I want to keep this leg from switching off. And this time we're going to stretch the right hand forwards. And it's going to be our wraparound arm around the outside of the left leg, left arm behind, draw it in, turn the hand out slightly. So just turning the wrist out. Again, it opens and just allows you a little bit more opening in the left arm and shoulder, lengthening up. And then we can twist gently. Okay. Enjoy 4 deep breaths as you twist to your left, yogis. Looking somewhere, if you can, over the left shoulder. And keep that spine as tall as you comfortably can. We're going to inhale together when you're ready. And we're going to use that exhalation to slowly return back to the front or the centre and release the leg. Again, just take a moment, sit back, zigzag the feet in, just relax them, but take a moment to notice if your back feels a little more open and whether the chest also feels more open. This is what we're doing today. We're aligning the spine, but we're also helping to remove stiffness from chest, hips, and the pelvis. And so as you go forwards with these poses, just notice the areas that you've worked, particularly your spine just then, and notice if it feels a little looser. Even if it's just a fraction looser, what an achievement you've done. Now, we're now going to actually come into a pose that we often leave at the end of the practice, which is classified and known as the bridge. But I'm popping it in here before other poses, so that your back goes from one lovely twist to one lovely stretch, okay? It's really enhancing our back now, because this practice is called taking care of your back. Okay, so I'm just going to check the time. Great, it's 1:45, we've got lots of time. So join me now if you can, and we'll go into bridge pose. This pose is a pick-me-up pose, and it's said to energize us and give us energy. So we come onto our spines, onto our backs, and we make sure first and foremost that our knees and feet are hip width apart. That's key. And then we can just nudge the heels up towards the buttocks as far as we can. We want to bring the buttocks and heels nice and close to one another, if we can, keeping the feet and your knees hip width apart, yogis. So that's good. Keep the toes soft and long as well. And let's take the head down. We're going to tuck the chin in so the back of the neck is nice and long. And then we're going to place the hands on the floor, both sides of the body, firmly pressing the backs of the hands and the arms into the floor. That acts like a stable anchor while we lift the spine upwards. So chin tucked in. Now before we do anything, let's focus on our breathing. So take a deep breath in with me. And a deep breath out, and just notice whether that breath feels deeper and fuller. Remember, these poses help to open the chest. So as you breathe, you may not, but you may notice more amplified breathing, or the fact that your breath feels more expansive and relaxed in the chest area. So just note that. Okay, here we go. Let's inhale. We're going to start to raise the hips whenever we're ready off the floor very slowly. As you start to do that, keep the knees where they are. Don't let them move. Press the backs of the hands and arms into the floor and raise the hips upwards towards the ceiling. Keeping the chin, head and neck still. Chin tucked in. That's it. Just come up as high as you can. Doesn't have to be high. Pressing the backs of the hands, the arms into the floor as you raise those hips towards the ceiling. Come up as high as you can. And we're going to switch on that deep breath work now and hold for 4 slow breaths if you can. Keep the feet and knees anchored down as you raise your hips. Switch on the deep breathing yogis and push the hands, that's it, backs of the arms into the floor as you lift up, carefully and slowly breathing deeply. Okay, one more deep breath in. Now we're going to use the exhalation to slowly start to lower back down, as if we were peeling the spine, vertebra by vertebra back down on the mat. Go slow, yogis, there's no rush. Nice and gently and slowly, good. And when you get there, just take a resting breath in. And a deep breath as your spine settles once more on the mat. Hug the knees in if you wish to. Rock and breathe deep. Let everything relax, particularly the spinal muscles. Give them a moment simply to relax. And just notice again the quality and the texture of your breath as you breathe in and breathe out. Okay, it's time to roll when you're ready again, all the way up and come into a pose that you may not think is working your back, but again it goes to the pelvic region and the hips, which again interconnect with spine. So it is about taking care of your back here. And that's just a low lunge. And if you've got dodgy knees or knees that are a little bit sore today, can I ask you to just fold up your blanket again or your mat, place your left knee on the padding and take your right foot forwards. Now tuck the toe of the left foot under for more stability. Remember, yogis, in lunges, ideally the right knee is in alignment with the right ankle, hands on the hips, roll the shoulders back. And what we're doing here is focusing on the stretch, believe it or not, in the left lower abdomen, that gets a stretch, we often forget about that. The left hip is being opened, and of course the left quadricep, the muscles in your left thigh. But it's the hip region we'll work on, and that again helps to open and soften tension in your spine. So just hold for 3 breaths. Again, if it's particularly tight, you may just want to hold for 2, but the main thing again, keeping this knee in alignment with the ankle. Don't overload that front leg. Spine is tall, shoulders dropped and relaxed. And again, switch on that deep breath work if you can. And then release. We're going to switch sides. We do both sides of this pose. So left foot forwards. Again, take a moment to make sure this left knee is in alignment with the ankle. And tuck the toe under of the right foot. That helps to keep those hips squared. And again, notice if one side feels easier. So for me, this side feels easier. There's less tension here and tightness. Again, it's a magnificent way of opening up into the pelvic region and a little bit into the abdomen, that stretch, and of course the hip region. And we hold for 3 breaths. Softly gazing ahead, relaxing the jaw, Even the facial features we want to soften and relax. It's part of the process and part of our practice. And just being mindful that our yoga practice covers all and every part of our body, including our facial features. And then slowly, slowly, from here, I do want you to release and slowly come up to standing. So feet apart, just roll up slowly. There's two poses I'd like to include in the practice that are standing. Shake it out for a moment, grab some water, and we'll just do two standing poses, which again are going to complement your spine, your pelvic, and your hip region. You've just done a low lunge. Now we're going to explore the upper part of that lunge, so a high lunge. We're going to take our right foot forwards. We're going to turn our left foot in behind us and come up onto the ball of the left foot. Now, naturally, that makes us wobbly. So take your hands to your hips to steady you. Front knee is bent, but still being able to see the toes. Back foot coming up onto the ball, quite wide, and then we sink down just a little bit. Sinking down, hands on our hips to steady us. Relax the shoulders, lift the chest a little, and look forwards. And this high lunge is pretty much a balance as well. So if you find this difficult, you can drop the arms by your side. Sometimes people find that more of an anchor, but I personally prefer my hands on my hips. Again, just take a moment. Again, wobbling is normal, to adjust that front knee. We want to be able to see the tops of the toes at least, and I know that's tricky. And again, keep those hips squared. We're sinking down again. Similar pose, we're opening up our hip and pelvic region. We lift the chest, roll the shoulders back to get this little sort of opening here as well, which is fantastic. Don't worry if you're wobbling. I'm asking you to hold this balance. Breathe. Wonderful. Now to come out of it, simply step forwards carefully. Shake it out. It's quite a deep stretch, isn't it? Really working this whole entire area. And of course, additional benefits are you're strengthening the legs. Let's try the other side. So this time, yogis, I'll take my left foot forwards. And again, my right foot behind. I tuck the toes under of the back foot. And I bend the front knee, keeping the back leg fairly straight if I can. Hips squared to the front. And as I bend that front knee, I can feel myself wobbling. That's normal. It is a balance, but I can see the tops of my toes. But then I want to sink a little bit. I want to sink down and feel the opening in that back hip and thigh. Also working my pelvic region, the pelvis on both sides, but it's the hip that we're sort of exploring, and the thigh muscles. But we get this little lift, so we look forward. We want to lift the chest, roll the shoulders back, softly gaze ahead. And that's a dynamic pose, isn't it? I can feel myself wobbling. Make sure you've switched on the deep breathing, but know this is a strengthening pose. So if it's tricky, I want you to practice this one if you can. 1 or 2 more deep breaths. Your toes of the front foot are soft and long. Don't claw those toes. Well done. And carefully come forwards, legs together, shake it out and relax. Well done, yogis. I am mindful of time. We've got 5 minutes, but I don't want us not to at least explore this last pose. So this is the last pose we'll do. It's a standing pose. Toes and ankles firstly facing forwards in a wide-legged stance. So this is going to stretch the sides of the back, and I don't want us to miss this. So turn your right foot out 90 degrees and leave your left foot, if you can, facing forwards. Go as wide with your legs as you comfortably can. Bend your front right knee, but again, make sure you can see the tops of your toes. Look after your knees. Right hand rests like this, palm facing up on the right thigh. I'm going to swing the left arm with the inhalation up, pinning it towards the ear, and then looking towards the ceiling or forwards if you wish. Let's hold for 4 breaths. So this is a dynamic side bending stretch for the body, for the spine, but of course activates the stretch. Think about what you're doing. You're working your legs, you're opening your hip and pelvic region, and and you're stretching into the side of your spine and rib cage. Lots going on. Now, if you're tired, just hold for 2 breaths rather than 4. Lengthening out, feel that beautiful stretch, that's it. Legs are strong, so breathe into them. And exhale to release. Just 4 breaths because we've done a lot already. Right foot comes in, left foot turned out 90 degrees. Do love this stretch. It just reminds us of the side body, how important they are as well. We're going to bend that front knee, making sure we can still see the tops of the left toes. Rest the left hand, and again, a nice distance between ear and shoulder. Sweep on the inhale that right arm, pin it towards the left ear. Feel that beautiful stretch, side bending, looking up or forwards if you prefer. Up to 4 breaths in your own time. And again, just take a kind approach to the differences on the left and the right side, and just notice if they feel physically different as you breathe. Excellent. So if you're tired now, we're going to inhale and release, relax the arms, bring the legs in, just carefully zigzag or walk them in, and lastly shake it out. Nicely done, yogis. It's time to come down and rest. You've earned this, so we're going to lie down for a few minutes. So just grab a cushion, maybe a blanket, and let's have a few minutes in relaxation. Now, as you lie down, do make sure you're warm, and you can stay in this position for as long as you wish to. If you're joining us for coffee, that means 15 minutes from now. So if you want a longer relaxation, please have one if you need it. So we're going to lie down. Firstly, just take the arms away, bend the knees, and just lower the knees down gently to one side. Inhale, bring them up. And exhale, just gently lower them down to the other side. Just a little release for the spine after that. And we'll do that again. So we inhale, arms, again, just stay uppermost, palms up. Exhale, dropping the knees down together to one side. Inhale, bringing them up. And lowering them carefully down to the other side. And repeat that just once more if you can, on each side. It's just a lovely extra little loosening for the spine after all that lovely work, where really this hour has been about taking care of your back, but also aligning the spine and releasing tension in the shoulders, neck and pelvis. And the chest, of course. So we're going to stretch the legs out, or keep the knees bent if you prefer, chin tucked in, palms facing the ceiling. Even as you tuck your chin in, just remind yourself that good posture, even lying down, we can think of good posture from head to toe. Lift the head, make sure you're in a relatively straight line, and then place the head down. Chin tucked in, palms facing uppermost, away from the body. Now, let's just spend a few minutes here, quietly allowing the body to completely rest and relax after our yoga. Our intention is abundance. So as you breathe in, know that you have all the abundance that you need and require. And as you breathe out, just letting go of any unspent energy. Breathing in a sense of abundance and energy. And releasing any unspent, old, used-up energy. Take another 6 slow breaths, yogis, in your own time. And whatever abundance may mean for you, whatever that word has an intention of being for you, breathe abundance in. Breathe abundance out. And let your body rest well. And breathe deep. And enjoy the stillness of the body now, As you breathe abundance in and breathe abundance out. Allow your whole body a few more minutes here to completely rest and relax. Whole body now less tight, looser, particularly the areas we've worked. Just check in with them now, yogis, as you breathe and relax. Observe how your back feels physically now. Observe how your chest feels, your pelvis, and your hips. So those are the major parts we've worked today. And just observe physically how those areas now feel as you rest, as you relax. So yogis, when you're ready, take a deep breath into all of those areas, spine, chest, pelvis and hips. And as you exhale, just notice if they feel a little looser, more supple, more open and energized now. And slowly, slowly, let's begin to move once more our fingers and our toes, giving them an affectionate stretch and wiggle into fingers and toes. You start to make little circles again with your wrists and ankles, and notice if they feel a little looser now, less tight. And when you're ready, if you wish to, hug your knees in and rock again, hopefully feeling the back a little softer, less tight. Perhaps some of that body armour now not so tight in the spine. And gently rolling onto one side, let's come up and close our practice together as a group, as a community online. Let's close that together. So sitting tall, give yourself a moment again just to observe how your spine, your pelvis, your chest and hips now feel. And remember that the real yoga continues for the rest of the day off the mat. So do observe how you feel physically as you go about the rest of your day. Well, let's close our practice now. Deep breath in. Gather all the lovely energy, bring it down into the heart space. And again, I invite you to take a moment to wish your body well. Om Shanti, peace, go well. Thank you. Bye for now.